This is a song called Indefinitely. The maniac mechanic is back at it, and I can't stand it. The havoc she wreaks in the attic of my head. And through the clanging noise I hear a voice that gives me the simple choice to change lives or stay in bed. But I'm the working man, or so they say, got a part to play in keeping humanity standing up good and tall. Well, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's great, but today I'm late, the crowd is irate, and I don't even know my lines at all. I have to admit I thought I was good at it, the part where I act like me. But now I see the role is ever changing, and I'll keep rearranging indefinitely. Go through the motions, feel the emotions, look at the ocean while dipping my toes in, and then call it a day. Spend some time trying to find the ones I'll hug and nudge and love and tell life to get out of my way. But it's not easy, please believe me, I've tried and failed inside and sailed away to make a new start. The show goes on with me gone, and it ain't wrong, it just means my scene has got a brand new part. I have to admit I thought I was good at it, the part where I act like me. But now I see the role is ever changing, and I'll keep rearranging indefinitely. Oh, I have to admit I thought I was good at it, the part where I act like me. But now I see the role is ever changing. Now I see the role is ever changing. Now I see the role is ever changing, and I'll keep rearranging indefinitely.
Hello, Oilers. I'm Will Eddie Boyjo, the host of Between Two Walls. Now, we have a special guest for you today. Today, we have Joe Baker. Joe, thank you for coming on our show.
It's good to meet with you, Will.
Now, Joe, what is your age, your major, and your hometown?
Okay, well, I'm a 21-year-old pre-veterinary student from Avon Lake, Ohio, which is a cute little suburb outside of Cleveland proper.
Okay, how do you like your hometown?
It's kind of boring. It's really homogenous. Like, everybody there looks like me, like exactly, like with their Express hoodie on and everything. It's everybody's kind of the same. But, I mean, it's a nice place to live, you know. Your car's not going to get broken into, and everybody's pretty kind. But it's just homogenous.
Joe, who is your favorite musician of all time? Or your top three, if
Oh,
that is
man.
easier for you.
Probably, I mean, definitely Kurt Cobain's got to be in there. Loved Kurt Cobain ever since I was an angsty, pimple-ridden teenager. He's just always kind of spoke to me by just doing whatever he wants and being messy and gritty, and I've always liked that. I've been a huge Beatles fan, and I know Kurt was a big Beatles fan too, so those two are actually very related as far as composition goes and style. And I'm a huge Buddy Guy fan from Chicago. Buddy Guy is older bluesman who just plays really honest music, is very honest on stage, and has been in a really cool journey and likes to help people out, and he's a great guy. So those are probably the top three.
How would you say you got your love for music?
Love for music, I don't know, you know, I really don't. My family isn't all that musical. Like a few people in my family play instruments, or at least they used to. They don't really play anymore. I didn't grow up in a musical household. I just started and kept going, and I guess it's just not even like a love. It's almost like a habit, really. It's just a thing that I can't really help but do. You know, I'll write if I'm stressed or if I'm having a good time, or, you know, it's just something tells me to write and I will, and it's a great time. But I guess it's not really about love. It's just not even up to me. It just happens.
Now, your song that you just played for us, what was the title of that song again?
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely. What was the reason why you wrote that song?
The reason. So one of the reasons was I was at home, like back in Avon Lake, not here in Findlay. And, you know, it was Christmas break. I had some spare time. I was trying to spend some time with my family a little bit because my grandfather was in town and it was good to see him and whatnot. But, you know, he went to bed kind of early and I'd have some time just to sort of do whatever. And I guess the music told me to write it, and I obeyed. So it was kind of just talking about a transition from life here at the University of Findlay to what will hopefully be a life in veterinary school. And I just got to thinking about, you know, the cyclic nature of life, and it just came out of me, I suppose.
If you were to rate Indefinitely among all of the songs that you have written in your life, where would you put it?
It's definitely near the top. I think it's a really fun song. I really focused on the way the phonetics of things worked, you know, the syllables and the rhyme scheme and all that. And kind of didn't focus too much on the message, but the message came out really clear in the end. So that's why I really loved it, because I didn't even focus on the message, and the message was great by the end. So I would rank it very near the top, maybe number 2 even. I wrote one song this week called Someday, and it just came out of me like in half an hour, which is really short as far as, you know, writing a song goes. Indefinitely took about 2 weeks. But, you know, the song I just wrote, Someday, it was about half an hour. So, but I would say Indefinitely is top 5.
What is your favorite type of music to play for different genre-wise?
Probably my favorite thing to do is to put on like an old B.B. King record, some old style blues kind of thing, and just get my electric out and just kind of jam along with that, you know, find what key it's in and then just play along. Not necessarily mimicking, you know, the great players of old like Buddy Guy and B.B. King and these guys, you know, Jimi Hendrix and all those guys, and not really mimicking, but just trying to, you know, go back and forth with them, have a conversation, and just to like improvise blues, I guess, is really my favorite thing to do.
Would you say that music can spark conversation? Like, you being a musician, do you think you can have a conversation with almost anybody about different types of music?
I guess I can, but it isn't always like that fun for other people, because I'm like really into technically how music works, and I like to look at composition, and those things really pique my interest. And if I talk about those sorts of things to some people, they're gonna just like be like, dude, I don't really care what you're talking about, and that's fine. That's not what that music's for. Then, you know, it's to be enjoyed. Ultimately, that's what it's about. But if I maybe speak to another musician, I can talk about like, man, like, you know, Slash uses the, harmonic minor really well over that chord, you know, and we know what that means, but other people don't really know what that means. So I guess it depends on the audience.
So you would say you're more into music theory in some aspects of it than the actual just putting music out?
As far as somebody who has learned music on his own, is just self-taught and has learned from YouTube and textbooks, I'm very into theory, and I feel like a lot of people don't like theory. They say the theory is really boring, it's really difficult, and I just really latched onto it, and I really like it, and I like picking things apart and looking at how things work compositionally. So I'm very much into the theory, which I think makes me stand out a little bit from other people, because other people, I don't think they like it as well.
Now, when you start writing your own music, does you not putting profanity in your music influence you anyway?
Well, I have actually been experimenting with profanity recently, and I guess it rarely does much for the song, I feel. Like I've been thinking, you know, what if I put in profanity here? And I usually end up saying, it's not worth it. You know, it doesn't really contribute much. What I do like to do is to use words that aren't profane per se, but they're gritty or something. So I'll write a song that's sweet and sentimental, and the line would be, so this is actually a line from Someday, was, someday you'll tell me I'm stupid, and I'll realize how smart you are. So it's like kind of gritty. You say, you'll tell me I'm stupid, but then ultimately it's supposed to be a sweet thing where you say, this other person's very smart for telling me that I'm being dumb right now, and I just need to accept that and move on because I love them. So I'll be maybe gritty with things, but I usually don't think profanity is very necessary.
Do you think when you are writing music, what influences you more, pain or joy?
I think it's about equal. When I look at the record itself that's coming out nowadays, I think it's pretty much an even split between major and minor key songs. And, basically, from a writing standpoint, minor means sad and major means happy, at least for me. That's usually how I write. And I think it's about half and half, and I'd call it a coin toss.
Joe, what would you say is your favorite genre of music to listen to?
Man, that's tough. I really like to do different things depending on life circumstances.
Okay.
So when I was younger, for sure it was blues. Every night I'd put on a blues record and fall asleep to it, and that was really it. And then, it was Zeppelin for a little while, Led Zeppelin, and then it was, in the summertime it tends to be the Beatles because that's just like good, happy summertime music. Winter tends to be jazz. I guess it's too hard of a question.
So you just have like a different set of songs or artists for different occasions?
I guess. It's not that I consciously do these things. I don't say, well, it's winter, I think it's time to switch over to some Vince Guaraldi. It's just, it's kind of what the world tells me to do, and I don't notice it. It's just kind of subconscious. And after years of doing it over and over again, I say, well, I'm kind of self-aware now. I just tend to do that.
So you're kind of just like a go with the flow, whatever you're feeling at the moment is what you listen to?
For sure.
Okay. Do you think people should broaden their horizon when it comes to music by listening to different genres and artists and maybe trying something new that they haven't heard of before?
I don't know. I've listened to some stuff that I don't like, and I just throw it away immediately, never listen to it again, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's good to be receptive, but I don't think you have to be actively pursuing new things all the time. I don't think it hurts, but I think if there's one song that you really love and you figure out why, that's a really big deal. So I think there's something to be said about diversifying what you listen to, but then to really scrutinize what you do love, I think is equally important. So I don't necessarily advocate for going out and trying to find all these new things and new ideas. I guess it depends on the person, but I like to really pick apart what I love and figure out why I love it.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have right now, Joe. Thank you very much. And what is your new album called again? It's
called Nowadays. It should be available hopefully in April. We'll see how it goes. But if you're all looking forward to that, then I'll be happy to get you on.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully we can get one and we can play some songs while we're doing whatever in the studio.
Sounds great, Will. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much.